Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the new Chronicle Collectibles Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Stegosaurus statue. First thing we'll have a look at for the Stegosaurus is this really large oval-shaped display stand. Down below you have the Lost World in a raised logo. I like that they've given a little bit of a wear to it with a wash of light brown. The majority of the base kind of has a dirt terrain, some nice stones and stuff like that placed all around it. You can probably already see where the Stegosaurus will be placed on here, as indicated by the impressed area of its foot. One big hole socket, which the peg of the foot is going to go into that, with a couple of recessed areas here as well. We can flip around the statue base, and you've got the Chronicle Collectibles The Lost World Jurassic Park Stegosaurus Maquette. This particular one is 72, but it's out of 300 pieces. And then you've got a couple of felt feet, 4 in total, to prevent any scratching on your surface. Now, here comes the tricky part. You actually have to take the peg on the underside of his leg, line it up to these slots, and affix it into place. Luckily, you only have to do that with one lined up peg. Basically, everything else will sit into the little imprints onto the base itself. And there you have the completed Stegosaurus. Now this statue stands at a whopping 31 inches long, 15 inches tall, and 8 inches wide. The base itself is 14 inches long, 10.5 inches wide, and 2 inches tall. One of the cool aspects of this particular statue as well is that the Stegosaurus is the first of Chronicle Collectibles Maquette series. It's molded from the original studio maquette produced by Stan Winston Studios and painted exactly like the dinosaurs depicted in Lost World. What that means is you get a ton of detail in the skin itself. Like the skin has a nice textured look to it, almost akin to something like an elephant skin that we saw with the breakout T-Rex. Very similar to the T-Rex, except for the fact that the T-Rex had a lot more decorative decorations to it, like the spotting in the skin and the stripes and little splotches in the skin. The Stegosaurus, on the other hand, here is very primary. Primarily, you see a cream color, basically on the underbelly and undercarriage of the Stegosaurus, and then atop of it, you've got this nice green color. It looks like what they've done with the statue is maybe the statue itself started at a dark gray color, and then they've washed the colors over top of it, because just shy of turning this around, which is a really heavy statue, you can see kind of how where the lighter gray color probably makes up the majority of the statue. And then they've washed over top of it the lighter yellowish cream, the green, and then the yellowish orange over top of that. Because you really see a lot of those little recessed areas popping in the light gray with the cream color over top of that. Obviously, one of the notable features of a Stegosaurus too is the very large plated spikes that run from basically like the starting point of its neck all the way down to its tail. And it gets broader as these plates move further up, with the largest being near the top of the spine. For that, you get a slightly different texture to that of the skin, whereas the skin has almost like wrinkling to it. The plates, on the other hand, have a much more, almost kind of like a shell texturing to it. They've done this nice dark gray, almost brown wash, and highlighted some of the little accent areas, while the rest of the plate, as you can see, is a more medium, almost chocolate brown. One of the Stegosaurus's primary weapons to defend itself, not counting the spikes running the full length of its body, are these spikes that are protruding themselves out from the base of the tail. A contrast to the greens and the cream colors They've painted these spikes more of a yellowish tone, and then they've washed almost like a brownish gray in there. The paint's done a really good job because you can see almost these little grains running through the bones of these spikes. It's really nicely done. Here's a slight 3/4 back turn of the Stegosaurus so you can kind of see more of the plates sticking themselves out from the back here. It's a phenomenal looking creature. It's not one of my favorite dinosaurs. My favorite is still the Triceratops, but I always had a soft spot for the Stegosaurus. I loved the plates, just the sizing of them. Imagine this beautiful creature walking the lands. I always really love looking at the big pieces. They're a little harder to film like these particular pieces because you can't really manipulate them too much. Like this piece is heavy, so moving it around becomes a little bit more difficult. But boy, do I ever love showcasing some of the statues. When you start getting to like these big sized pieces, this looks beautiful. And just, I mean, you can imagine the presence it would represent having it on display. We've just looked at the breakout T-Rex, which was an impressive piece all on its own. But there's something to be said for the gracefulness and still the armament that the Stegosaurus has here too. It's a beautiful looking statue. So the Chronicle Collectibles Lost World Stegosaurus is currently on pre-order. Its release date is around the first quarter of 2017. So actually, this guy should be coming out or being shipped soon. The price on him is $549. And I know you think to yourself, $549 seems really high. But you can't gauge the weight of this. This guy is this is a beefy boy. It's a beefy boy, but he is heavy, and he's also really long. So, you know, when you're looking at 31 inches of dinosaur, you put that on a display, preferably not on a light shelf, but you put that on a display, it's going to command quite a presence for anybody that's going to be coming over to your house. Based on its size, based on its paint, and based on its sculpt, $549 I think is a pretty good price for this particular piece. When you really factor in that a 6 scale figure is about $200 to $300. You imagine this, $549, I think that's a pretty decent enough price. But it is currently on pre-order, and I can't stress this enough, there's only 300 pieces of this guy to go around. So if you're a fan of the breakout T-Rex, you might want to pick that one up. But if you're a fan of also Stegosaurus, you might want to jump on this guy right away because, again, 300 pieces, he's probably going to sell out pretty fast. Needless to say, today we were checking out the Chronicle Collectibles. This was the Jurassic Park Lost World version of the Stegosaurus Maquette. Beautiful looking piece. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Click that little subscribe button down below, that little one that says subscribe, and you're good to go. And you won't miss a beat when it comes to future videos, including more collectibles from Chronicle. And speaking of Chronicle, there's also a Chronicle Collectibles playlist. So if you haven't had a chance to go back and check out some of my older videos of, for example, like the RoboCop Kane, for example, the Ed 209, for example, the Ghostbusters Terror Dog, there's a playlist that you can head over and check out all my older videos for Chronicle Collectibles. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.